Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Unit 9 Review. Now, this says to be sure to obtain a teacher's signature for each section you complete before starting another one. However, here's the video for everything. Now, the nice thing about this is that above each section, it actually tells you what number we're on, so you can look in your notes to look at some of these examples, okay? Now, it says be able to classify polynomials according to degree and number of terms. So, a quick review about some of the names. If you're looking by terms, the terms that we talked about were monomial, binomial, trinomial, and polynomial, okay? And if we're talking about degree, we've talked about the words constant, linear, quadratic, and cubic, okay? So that's what we're going to need to do first, but always check to combine like terms, all right? So for the first example, the 7 plus 5x plus 2x cubed plus 3x squared, now the highest degree is right there, which makes it cubic. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, so it's a cubic polynomial. Okay, now for number 2, the highest degree, it's a quadratic, and there are 3 terms, so that's why it's a trinomial. Okay, now be careful with the next one, because look at right there. You can combine those terms, those cancel out, and now you're left with a degree of 1, which is linear, 2 terms, binomial. Okay, and now the last one is a constant monomial. Okay, so hopefully that was a good review of the different names. Let's look at the next part where it says be able to add and subtract. All right, I'm going to do the left side together, and you guys are going to do the right side on your own. Okay, so when it's positive, okay, see how it's positive, we're adding, okay, and we would check to see if we can multiply or distribute, but since it's just a positive, we don't change anything, okay? Now, I'm looking for like terms, which are right there, which turns 20x to the 4th. My next pair of like terms, the cubed. Okay, 11 minus 5 is 6x cubed. Oh, I'm sorry, I was combining the wrong things, guys. Why didn't you say anything? I couldn't hear you. The cubes. 11 minus 1, that is 10. 10x cubed, and now the squares. Sorry about that. 20 minus 5 should give you 15x squared. All right, now here is subtraction, so we've got to distribute the negative 1. So all those signs change, but the ones up front stay the same. Okay, so once again, let's start looking to combine like terms. Those guys actually cancel. Okay, your next set, 7 and 8, give you a grand total of 15W, and -6 and -2, whoops, -8. Alright, so the two on the right are on your own. Just make sure to pay attention to what symbol is and what you need to do. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there you go. So for the first one, combine your cubes and they cancel. Combine your squares and they cancel. Combine your 9s and your 6s, and Mr. Grice missed a sign right there, but he got the problem right. You get 3. Okay. So back here, 7m and m, that's where we get 8. 12 minus 3, that's where we got the 9. And -9 plus 1 is where -8 is. Alright, let's move on. Okay, it says be able to multiply polynomials using the distributive property. So when you multiply the numbers. 2 times 9 is 18, and then you add the exponents. Multiply the numbers, you get -14, and you add the exponents. And that's all we can do with that problem. Okay? Now for problems like this, we talked about FOIL, where it would be -6w squared, then you do -12y minus 9yw, I'm sorry, I always say y for that, and then -18. Combine your like terms in the middle, and write your final answer, which is -6w squared minus 21w minus 18. Okay, so that was the FOIL, and for here, I'm going to do the box, okay? And the reason why I want to do the box is because we're multiplying a 3 by 2. And I'm actually going to move this down a little bit, okay? And the cool thing is when we multiply the 3 by 2, that these guys are actually going to be our like terms, and we're going to combine them. So we got the -4m squared plus m plus 1, and the 3m minus 2. Okay, so just multiplying everything inside, you get -12m cubed plus 3m squared plus 3m. Negative times the negative, positive 8m squared minus 2m minus 2. And then when you combine all your like terms, you get -12m cubed plus 11m squared plus m minus 2. And there you go. All right, let's flip it over to 9.3. Okay, special cases. Remember that means 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Okay, the same thing right here. That means -3w minus 5 times -3w minus 5. Okay, I'm going to actually make that look like what I said it was. Now, you guys should need to know how to multiply all of that stuff out. So you guys are going to be on your own for those, and I'm just going to write the answers. Okay, so pause the video, try them out, and then you'll see what I get in a second. Okay, and there are your answers. You can do FOIL or box for those. I just wrote the answers, so if you don't know how to do that, rewatch the ones that we just did, the couple examples, or come in and get extra help. Let's flip it to the next side. So, be able to factor out a GCF from a polynomial. Now, this is where you need to look at your numbers to say, hey, what can I take out of those? Do they both have x's? Do they both have y's? What's the lowest variable that you can take out? Okay? Now, since this is negative, you are taking out a -4. Okay? Both of the x's are the same, so I can take out an x squared. They both have y's. The lowest one is a 1. Okay? So when we write our final answer, the -4x squared y comes out front. Now, the first term turns into a 1. 16 divided by -4 is -4. Your x's cancel out, and you're left with 1y. Since that's your final answer, I'm gonna, whoops, there we go. Okay. All right, same thing. I want to know, is there any variable they all have in common? And there is. Look at it. They all have an x cubed, which means I can take out an x cubed out of everything. My x cubed comes out front, and we're left with a plus b plus c. Okay? Now, why don't you guys try the next example, see what number you can take out into all of those, and then factor. Good luck. Okay, so the only thing you can take out of all of that is a 6, and then that's what you're left with. And you can't factor it anymore because it is not a quadratic, okay? It's a trinomial, or it's a cubic, all right? So be able to factor quadratic trinomials. Now, what we need to do is see what goes into all of those, okay? And from all of these, you can take out a 2, and you can also take out an x. So the 2x comes out front, and we're left with x squared minus 5x plus 6. So my a is 1, my b is -5, and my c is 6. So multiplying, I get 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So what group of numbers add up to get to -5, but multiply to get to +6? Okay, and that group is actually 2 and 3, because -2 and -3 are the ones that work in both cases. So when we write our next step, because we're splitting the middle term, it's x minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. Okay, that's where the split comes in. We draw the line down the middle. You can plot an x here and a -3 here. All right, and then we've got the x minus 2, the -3, x minus 2, our checkpoint right here. We got it right. And so we bring the 2x down, x minus 3, x minus 2. And that's your final answer. Okay? So when we're doing problems like this, you always want to know, well, first off, can we take out a GCF? Is there anything we can divide all of those numbers by? There's not. So then you need to know that a is 5, b is -9, C is negative 2. Okay, negative 10, which is 1 and 10, 2 and 5. So what numbers add up to get to negative 9 and multiply to get to negative 10? Okay, and from here, you guys are all on your own. So go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and that's what you should have gotten. It breaks up to 1 and negative 10. Split the middle term. Over here, we took out the w from both sides. Over here, I took out a negative 2. When we look at our check right there, everything comes out, and you get w minus 2 and 5w plus 1. All right. We cannot take out a GCF, so we know that a equals 1, b equals negative 14, and c equals negative 48. The factors of negative 48 are 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, and then 6 and 8. So out of that group, are there any numbers that add up to get to negative 14 and multiply to get to negative 48? Well, 6 and 8. Negative 6 times negative 8 plus negative 6 is negative 14, so that's good. But negative 6 times negative 8, womp womp. So the answer for this one can't be factored. All right, let's go ahead and flip over here. Now, these are special cases. Excuse me. So, this first group, now it's a quadratic binomial, and the key thing is that it's subtraction, so we can do the difference of two squares. So we break that down. The square root of x squared is x. One's plus, the other's minus. The square root of 144 is 12. Now, for our next example, can we take out a GCF first? Yeah, we can. We can take out a 2. And after we take out a 2, the 2 comes out front, and we're left with 9w squared minus 4y squared. And when you look at that, that is also the difference of two squares. So you keep the 2 out front. The square root of 9 is 3, so that's 3w. One's plus and one's minus. It doesn't matter which is which. And then the square root of 4 is 2. And then that's your answer. All right, the last one. Can we take out a GCF? Nope. Can we do anything else? Is it the difference of two squares? No, because it's adding. So this one can't be factored. Okay. Section 9.8, the last one. Now, key thing right here is this is where we solve. Now, I want my leading coefficient to be positive, which is right there. So I'm going to subtract all my other information and line it all up. That's the key thing, okay? Those guys all cancel, and then we're left with 7x squared minus 10x plus 3 equals 0. That's what we want, okay? So A is 7, B is negative 10, and C is 3. multiply 21, we get 1 and 21, 3 and 7. So which of those numbers add up to get to negative 10, but multiply to get to positive 21? Well, that's going to be 3 and 7. Okay. Negative 3 and negative 7. Yay! Negative 3 and negative 7. Yay! It works out. Okay. So we're splitting the middle term. 7x squared minus 3x minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. Now remember, this does not turn into 21. Okay. It stays to whatever c was. All right. Right here, I can take out an x. And remember, if that's a negative right there, we can take out a negative 1. X comes out front. We're left with 7x minus 3. Take out a negative 1, and we're left with 7x minus 3. So x minus 1, 7x minus 3 equals 0. I know, guys, we're almost done. Since we're solving now, you set x minus 1 equal to 0 and the 7x minus 3 equal to 0. We're just going to go ahead and move that down a little bit more. And then after you go through and solve these guys, you get x equals 1. And then on this side, x equals 3 over 7. All right, next one. What you need to do first is take out a GCF. And after you take out the GCF, you can go through and solve this. Okay? Now, remember that this tells us right here how many answers we're going to have. So you will have 3 answers. Okay? You can do the difference of 2 squares, and you get 9x minus 5, or plus 5, and the other one would be 9x minus 5 equal to 0. You set all 3 of these equal to 0. So x equals 0, there's one of your answers, 9x plus 5, and 9x minus 5. Subtract that 5 to both sides, and then divide. And you're going to do the same thing over here. So there are your 3 answers. Now, the last one I want you to do all by yourself. Okay? I'm just going to put the answers up here in a second, so go ahead and pause the video and try your best. Okay, and there are the 2 answers. Hopefully you guys can figure out all of the work from there. I did put it into a quadratic for you. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, that's it for Algebra 1, Unit 9 review. Good luck on your test.